So, I hear you've been taking class from that Oglesby fella down there in Charleston. So he's supposed to be teaching you something about legacy. Jeez. What's he know about legacy? I can tell you something about legacy. Deep in the hills of West Virginia, underneath all the peace and quiet and the serenity, all the postcards and all that junk, there exists a force. And when people come to visit, you know, they go to the parks and they go whitewater rafting and they go see the Gorge Bridge and Bridge Day. Maybe go to a WVU ball game, right? Well, what they don't see in the background of everything is the glue that's holding it all together. You see, this image of almost heaven, I'm here to tell you, almost heaven don't just happen. You need a special group of men and women to make almost heaven happen. Legacy. How you gonna learn something about legacy if you don't know where it started? You think that Oglesby fella knows what anything started? I'm here to tell you. A little bit about history. You see, legacy is what you leave behind. And those men and women I was telling you about, well, they're better wise known as the state police. Now, the state police has been around for over 100 years, right? And things are different than they are today as what they were 100 years ago. You tracking me on that? How can I explain this to you? It's like this knife. Okay? No, you don't understand. Hold on a minute. I'm going to get something. I'll be right back. Y'all still there? Okay. That Oglesby fella got y'all trained pretty good, don't he? I'm going to show you something. You see this lawnmower blade? This lawnmower blade, if I take this lawnmower blade and I throw it out there in the field, in 100 years, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be a lawnmower blade. Right? This steel here has to be manufactured if you want it to be anything other than a lawnmower blade. Well, the state police had to be built. Blood and sweat and tears. Real agony. Not unlike this lawnmower blade. If you're going to shape it into something, you're going to have to put some heat on it. And when that heat's on it, you know what you got to do? You got to hit it with a hammer. In 1919, the state wasn't in a great shape. We had a whole lot of stuff going on. Through the 20s, there was riots, Cold Wars, Colonel Jackson Arnold was commissioned to start a state police agency in 1919. He just happened to be on a train after they had decided that they were going to start a state police agency in West Virginia. And he met this guy named Sam Taylor. Sam Taylor just coming back from the war. And Jackson Arnold looked at him and he saw an image in Sam Taylor. He saw what could be. He imagined what might be what the state police could look like. And he offered that young man a job. Throughout the first few years of the state police, had a bunch of rough guys, man. Bunch of rough, tough people. I'd like to think there were some remnants of that around today. I think if you look for it, you can find it. But them men were asked to do something that was almost impossible to do. And it required character. It required determination. And it required a vision. And it was rough. A lot of troopers were hired, a lot of troopers were fired. Over 300 troopers between 20 and 22 were fired from the state police. It wasn't until the later 20s that they had an academy for training. Captain Brockus was chosen to head up that academy. Captain Brockus was the lead commander in the mine wars, Mingo County. At one time, Captain Brockus, he had more troopers under his command than the colonel of the West Virginia State Police. He was given that authority by the governor. Times were different. Times were hard. You put that fire to that steel, you smack it with a hammer. You smack it as hard as you can smack it. You shape it into what you want it to be. And maybe you might turn out something like this. That's where this knife started. A lawnmower blade, not much different than the one I just showed you. You have to have a vision. You have to understand that it needs to be shaped. It needs to be shaped. thanks to the men and women who came for us, the West Virginia State Police has been shaped. And it's been left behind. And it's been placed in our hand. It's been placed in our hand to care for, so that it don't get out of shape. Now that it has become a knife, we want to keep it a knife. There's been an edge put on it by the people that came before us. It's up to us to take that strop and strop that blade. Keep that edge sharp. But I'm telling you right now, the fire wasn't ever put out. You men and women of the West Virginia State Police today are still in the fire. You're still in the fire. You know what that means? That means that this shape could change. This shape could change depending on what kind of pressure you put on it. We have been left a legacy. We have been left a legacy. We have been left a legacy of struggle. We've been left a legacy of strife. And we're still in the fire. It's up to us to keep the edge. It's up to us to leave a legacy behind that looks something like a knife. It's up to us to have the vision that as that metal is in that fire, that we can see how we're going to put pressure on it. Ourselves put pressure on it. Shape that thing. So that we can hand it over to the future generations. Troopers. Well, I'm honored to speak with you. Don't tell that Oglesby fella that I was going to do it anyway. Because I'm humbled by your service. I honestly don't know if I could do your job today. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, you can carry the torch. You can continue to make almost heaven happen. It's up to you. I've had my day. Well, I don't really know what else to say. Oh, yeah. And in case you were wondering, I always bleed green.